back, everybody. For those of you who haven't been part of our workshops before, I'm Chris Price. I'm one of our certified financial planners, and today I want to do something a little different. Today I actually want to share a story that hits close to home for a lot of families. It's actually about a couple who really thought their estate planning needs was all taken care of until they had a conversation with their daughter that, to be honest, changed everything, or led them down a path that changed everything. So this story is about a client, Dan and Evelyn. Right? They're retired. They've raised two kids. They built a successful business. And believe it or not, they actually still live in the same South Florida home that they've lived in or owned for decades. They raised their family there. Everything was revolved around that home. One evening, Natalie, their daughter, actually came by over dinner. And surprising enough or something, she asked a shocking question. Have you completed or done your estate planning? Her father, Dan, smiled and said, "We got a will. That's all we need." And thank goodness, Natalie actually gently pushed back. She said, "From my understanding, a will is a great start. But I keep hearing things about a trust. Have you ever looked into a trust?" Now that question led them down a rabbit hole of knowledge. So the next time they met their financial advisor and their estate planning attorney, Dan wanted to discuss this. So he pulled out his will. It was neatly filed, it was filled out, it was signed, it was witnessed, had all the right check marks on it. It listed the kids as beneficiaries, had an executor named, even included their car collection, the family car collection, which meant something to him and how it would be distributed. He thought they were in great shape, but he quickly learned some truths about wills. First one he didn't really like too much was wills don't avoid probate. Right? That means the court gets involved. And that means it could take months, it could take longer, it could take years. He also didn't like that a will is a public record. Anyone can access it, and anyone can say it should be different. He also didn't like that if, God forbid, he couldn't take care of himself during his life, that a will is not going to help at all. It only works after passing. So there were some red flags that he wanted to make sure he addressed. So then he asked the attorney to explain trusts. What kind of trusts are out there? The attorney started explaining something called a revocable living trust. They asked what it will do. He said, well, unlike a will, a trust will avoid probate. It does maintain privacy, and it does work while you're alive. Like giving your family a plan, even if you can't manage those assets or those things on your own. And with that, Dan and Evelyn's business, real estate, their accounts, it made perfect sense to have this in a trust. So they were ready to ditch the will and just go to the trust. So you know what? Great. Let's use the trust, put it all in there. This will, it is what it is. But then they really learned the most important lesson that the whole needed. And really that important lesson is this. Wills and trusts are not either or. You should have both. Now, obviously, as you can imagine, they asked why. And it's because there are many things a will does to help support the trust. One is they call pour over, making sure anything that wasn't titled in the trust will pass in to that trust. It names guardians for minor kids, grandkids. And probably most important, the thing that hit them the most, is that trust may protect your assets and help distribute them, but a will is that final love letter. It's your chance to explain why behind the decisions you're making. It's a chance for you to share your values. It's a chance to leave something to your family they can hold on to long after you're gone. So that part hit Dan and Evelyn pretty hard, as you could imagine. Right? Just didn't think of it that way. They thought of estate planning as like a technical checklist. They didn't think that there's an emotional value to it, that it should have some personal feelings and thoughts behind it. So here's what they did. Right? They created that revocable trust. They put their homes, their investments, their businesses inside it, so they protected it. They had a will and made a pour-over provision on it to catch anything else. They added healthcare directives and power of attorneys. God forbid they couldn't manage it in their life. And yes, they obviously even included a personal note explaining why certain heirlooms went to certain people, what they meant, and why they were gifting the way they were gifting. When Natalie read through it all later, she called her parents and said, "You didn't just leave us instructions, but you left us with peace. You left us with a piece of you." So with that being said, I want you guys to look into this story. Maybe it's something that is powerful to you. Maybe it's something you should talk to your own parents about. Right? A will is important, a trust is important. Having a plan and using those different pieces may be the most important. That being said, if anyone has any questions, obviously, you could always reach out to us. We like providing these videos constantly just to keep us involved in what goes on around the financial field. With that being said, everyone have a great day, and I look forward to the next one.